Good morning. How are we doing? Today we're going to talk about establishing a positive mindset. So the idea of this lesson is summarize how mindset influences your happiness, explain the difference between optimism and pessimism, identify the benefits of an optimistic outlook, and demonstrate skills for improving mindset. Over here are the key terms. As you notice, there's quite a bit. This is going to be split up into 2 video lessons, probably 2 lessons of guided readings as well. So this will probably be a 2-day ordeal. Okay? This starts off talking about how everybody experiences setbacks and disappointments. Okay? It's going to happen no matter if it's day to day or if it's a bigger event. There is going to be some form of a setback in your life or a disappointment. Usually when things start going good, it's that chain of events has to be broken up a little bit, all right? And it all depends on your reaction to those setbacks and those disappointments. And that's basically what this lesson is about. How to effectively tackle that every day, month to month, year to year. Because like I said, there's going to be different types of setbacks, big, small, quick, long, etc. Okay, the impact of mindset. Mindset affects a person's ability to enjoy life and cope with difficult life circumstances. For example, people with a positive mindset experience higher levels of happiness and lower levels of anxiety and depression. Okay, so basically what they're saying is if you have a positive mindset that you think that things are going to go well, the classic example is you look at the glass as half full and not half empty. I still have a decent amount left, not, oh crap, I've already used so much of this or whatever, or drank so much of it. It's that affects how you look at everything. It affects your work. It affects how you interact with friends, etc. So one thing that they talk about is how actually people with a positive mindset are not only happier, they also have better physical health. Now, there's a couple things that they look at that they kind of attribute that to. They think that it could be since you have a better mindset, you're able to handle stressful situations better. Where if you're kind of a negative Nancy or somebody that dwells and complains and has a bad outlook on how things can be, they might go for coping mechanisms like a smoking or drinking or just laying around and kind of moping around. As where somebody with a positive mindset might be, all right, let's get a plan, let's get it done. Or let's say they're stressed about something, they might go exercise or be with friends and be social, etc. And that kind of thing could lead to better physical symptoms. Like I said, if you're not smoking, you're not drinking to cope with mechanisms, that could, or using as coping mechanisms, that could lead to better physical health. People with a positive mindset also have a stronger social network. For a couple of reasons, I would imagine. One thing would be that whether people like to admit it or not, they don't like being around negative people. If you go hang out with someone and you're always negative and you're always complaining about things, it's not a pleasant experience for the other person. And you may have experienced somebody that's been this way. You may have been this way and not really paid attention to it. Let's say you're at Kings Island or you go to an amusement park and you're with somebody and you're like, all right, well, the new roller coaster's here. Let's go do that. And that person's like, oh, are you serious? Look at the freaking line. It's huge. It's going to take an hour before we get on. By the time we get there, it looks like it might start raining. They're probably going to shut it down on us, whatever. Okay, well, what else are you going to do? You're at an amusement park, quit complaining. Or they start complaining about how expensive food is. Okay, well, you're at an amusement park. It's a convenience fee. It's just kind of how things are when you go somewhere like that. You just kind of got to expect it, live in the moment, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy who you're with, be present, and just have a positive mindset. Whether if you're in the line for 45 minutes, who cares? Maybe you meet somebody that you end up talking to. You meet some new people. Worst case scenario, you're hanging out with your friend for 45 minutes waiting in a line. Okay, not a big deal. Once you get on there, it's worth it. Every roller coaster is going to have a line, so just your being positive is going to make you more social. Of course, if you have a better mindset, you're also going to be more willing to go out and socialize rather than laying around on the couch and moping. or what have you. Okay, positive versus negative mindsets. This goes on to kind of compare the two a little bit, the ideas behind each one, thoughts that you might have. People who have a positive mindset are generally optimistic, or they are an optimist. If it is a person is optimistic, they are an optimist. These people view situations positively, even in the face of challenges, and believe they will eventually feel better. They are flexible and adapt, change, and grow as they encounter different life experiences. So a big word that's not a vocab word here, but I think that you need to take with you through your whole life is the word patience. Okay, if you can be patient and just know that better times are going to come, that'll go with you a long way. And I've found myself just thinking, man, I just need to have patience. This situation's going to get better. It's like learning something. Okay, if you've learned to do something, you can you understand that you have the ability to learn something new. If you've done something before, you can do something new, right? So you got to look back on your past experiences. You've had bad experiences in the past. You know that new bad experiences aren't going to last forever, or you're going to find a way to make the best of it like you did before, okay? You've had bad experiences in your life up to now. You've had to have dealt with them somehow, some way, or at least, or coping with them and making it work. In one study, researchers asked people 65 to 86 to rate how much they agreed with various statements assessing a positive mindset. Some of these questions were, I often feel that life is full of purpose. So they're asking these elderly people these 4 questions. So they want to know, what do you think when I say this? I still have many goals left to strive for. That elderly person would think about that statement and be like, oh yeah, I do. I'm, 81 years old, but I want to plant a garden this year, and I want to go see my grandchildren in Florida, etc. Okay, that might be their positive answer. Or they might have an answer like, well, I don't have any family, I don't have much to live for, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's not really a very positive answer, okay? So that's how they're rating that. And what they found was that people who strongly agree with the statements, or, had good responses to these statements, were 2 times more likely to be alive 9 years later than those who did not. So there's twice as many people alive 9 years after they asked these questions. Twice as many people were alive that responded positively than the people who did not respond positively. Okay, so that's kind of a cool little study they did there. So these are some situations, okay, and these are how these people with positive outlooks deal with these. Feel overwhelmed by a difficult academic week. Somebody that's positive would sit down, then make a plan for staying on task and getting everything done. Okay, if you're overwhelmed about an academic week and you're thinking, oh, I just can't do it, and you fold like a lawn chair, you're not going to be able to get it done. You're not staying productive. You're giving up. But if you sit down and say, all right, let's get it done, and I'll get back to doing whatever I want to do, or I'm going to be on pace to achieve my goals. Okay, and that's what the person that sits down and makes a plan is going to achieve. Have an argument with a family member or friend. That person is optimistic, would take the time to cool off. Then they'd reach out and try to work out the issue. You're not going to get along with everybody all the time. I've had plenty of my best friends. I get in fights with occasionally with my best friends that I still talk to from kindergarten. It's going to happen. You're going to disagree on things, whether it's, politics or sports, whatever, friendly competitions. Sometimes, things just, people get overwhelmed and they have other stuff going on, and it kind of leads them to respond negatively. So reach out, work it out, and get back to being friends. So there's these 3 fields right here, okay? I do want to touch on this. People who have a positive mindset also focus on what they can control, not what they can't, okay? I can control, if I feel like I'm becoming overweight, I feel like, I don't like that. I'm gaining weight. I want to do something about it. I can go to the gym. I can walk outside and start running. I can stop eating as much sugar. I can, you got to be, there's things that you can control. Okay. Now, if I were in an accident and it cost me to not be able to, um, run or exercise as much. That's not something, or I had an injury. That's not really something in your control by any means. So it might make it harder to achieve a goal, such as losing weight. But you could find ways to get cardio somehow. Maybe you could just use your arms, or instead of running and something high impact, you could try to get on an elliptical or something slightly alternative, okay? There is things that you can't control, but once you find things that you can, you got to make the best out of that situation, okay? Fields, okay? There's field of concern, field of influence, field of control. And it kind of describes what these things are. Field of concern. That is everything in life that impacts or interests you, including both things you can and cannot control. The weather, past mistakes, what other people think or say. Those are all things that might concern you, and it might interest you, but you can't control all of it. All right? You can't go erase the past. You can't dial up the weather. Maybe you could go somewhere where it's nicer out or stay indoors or something, but you can't really change the weather. What other people think or say, you might have a little influence on that just based on some of your actions, but at the same time, you can't worry about that all the time. Otherwise, you're going to eat yourself alive. Field of influence, what you can influence, which is defined by your relationship. So this is things that you can't necessarily directly do, but you can influence how that happens, okay? You can't go into Infinite Campus and type an A in your grade column for my class. If you can, let me know, because I got to figure out how to patch that up. You can't do that, but you could study harder and things like that would influence getting good grades, okay? You influence that. You can't necessarily just, do that for yourself, but you do have a little influence on how that, works out. Good relationships with the family, field of influence. You can influence that. You can't absolutely make it happen. You can't make a good relationship happen with a family member, but you do have an influence over that. And if you're making an effort and you're devoting time to your family, you can improve that. Field of control, response to stressors. You can decide how you are going to respond to something that's stressing you out. You can decide if you're going to go out usually and get physical activity with variation. If maybe your parents say they want you to stay in, whatever. But ultimately, for the most part, you do have that control. Especially once you turn 18, you can go run, do whatever you want to do. Physical activity, nutrition, and sleep. You can decide when you go to bed. You can choose what you eat for the most part, or find a way to eat better. That is in your field of control. What can you directly control, which is affected by the choices you make about your thoughts and actions. Okay? I want to go ahead and skip past that. Pessimistic. So pessimistic is just you're negative, expecting only bad outcomes for actions and feeling unhopeful for the future. That's a pessimist, opposite of optimist. People with a negative mindset tend to give up when facing a difficult situation. They stick their head in the sand, is what this says, and just hope it kind of gets better. It doesn't work like that. You got to tackle it head on. It ain't just going to go away. You got to do something about it. Like losing weight, you can't just hope that some genetic thing happens or you grow out of it. You got to go do something. You got to make a plan, got to exercise, got to eat better, whatever you got to do, okay? Don't have a whole lot of time left on this one to get through this stuff. So these are, going back to this page, pursuing a positive mindset. Different strategies to improve mindset would be have a positive attitude, be mindful, things like that. And then strategies for practicing mindfulness, pay attention, live in the moment, accept yourself, focus on breathing. People want to hang out with people that are paying attention to what they say. That's how you learn better. That's how you succeed more. Being in the moment. You can't just live in the past or the future. You got to be present with people, and that's how you build better relationships. That's how you feel better daily. Obviously, accept yourself. If you don't like yourself, why would anybody else? You got to like yourself. Focus on breathing, because some people don't do that. Slow down, breathe. The rest of this stuff is pretty good. Read it over yourself, and we'll touch back on this tomorrow.